weekend number 3 on the K-Swap. DJ's K-Swap bill. What you think, bro? So look, we got all new suspension components. We got front lower control arms, rear lower control arms, front uppers, lower ball joint, sway bar bushings, outer tie rods. We've even got inner tie rods and boots over there. And look at this beautiful cross support in the rear. That thing is beautiful. Look at that. So, yeah, we're about to put these things in. This thing's going to be solid when we drive it. It's going to feel like it's brand new. It's well worth it to go ahead and rebuild suspension on an older vehicle, especially if you're going to go ahead and put this horsepower in here and you know, take the time to spend your money on it. You might as well get it running right and get it going right. So DJ is definitely doing this car right with everything he's doing. So we're about to get to it.
So right now I'm just showing DJ the whole rundown of what we're going to do with the rear suspension. And basically the way this whole car has been done, the project, is I'll do one side or I'll do one part to show him how to do it. And then I'll let him do the other side on his own. Because he's really hands-on and he wants to learn everything. So it's really cool that he can do this on his own car if he ever needs to.
Check it out. You know, we're getting in here, getting ready to do the lower control arms. It's not a complete rebuild, but we're gonna actually replace those. But check that out. I don't know if you can see how much play you have there. That one's really busted. You know, it's a 30-year-old car, so we got to go through all these bushings. But I love these cars because we still got parts for all this stuff that we can do. We're also gonna do the upper control arm too. But it's going to be a little bit of a different setup because we're going to go with disc brakes in the rear. So we're going to wait for that to see what that comes with, to see if we need to do a bushing kit or if we just need to change that part out.
So basically the whole drift of this is that with this build, DJ wanted to make sure everything was solid, you know, and you know, it is a 30-year-old vehicle, so we really wanted it to be stiff with, you know, stiff and you know, handle well and not feel like a 30-year-old car when we put this fresh engine in it, you know. We wanted to, when people got in it, you know, it would feel like a solid car, not just kind of feel lackluster. So, but look at the size of that lower control arm. This lower control arm kit that we got along with the crossbar is pretty solid, man. Like, it's definitely an improvement over the factory lower control arm. So, and it was lighter, if I'm not mistaken. So you know, right now I'm just kind of giving them the gist of, you know, what we're gonna do as far as putting that on, or just kind of showing them. It's real simple, man. It's 3 bolts to hold that lower control arm on. You got one that holds to the actual frame, and then you've got one bolt that goes through the strut, and then one bolt that goes through the knuckle. And like I told you guys, we're going to be changing the knuckle out with a disc brake setup that we have already, and we'll be doing a video on that soon. But if you can see there's already a coilover setup on the car. We're trying to decide whether we want to keep it or not, because I'm pretty sure it's like an eBay setup. So we're gonna drive the car with it on, see how it feels, and then if we don't like it, we're going to upgrade to a better setup. So
We're on our way to San Antonio during the quarantine to get some car parts. What we're going to get, these?
Driving the getaway vehicle.
Driving the getaway. What we're going to get?
We're going to get some disc brakes for the old hatch.
Disc brakes for the hatch.
And a head for your hot rod.
Cylinder head for the Talon. Maybe I can find something else while we're down there. I don't know.
It's not even awake.
It's not even awake yet. He's already pounded 1 coffee. Look at this. DJ's got 2 coffees.
Gotta have that fuel.
Not 1, but 2 coffees on this trip. We got a 5-hour trip down there and then 5 hours back, of course. So, yeah, we're gonna see what we can get today. I'm gonna try to get more than just a cylinder head. We'll see. Real quick before we finish this video, I want to remind you guys that we do have a podcast called the Seamless Garage Podcast, and I want you guys to check it out. This is the video version of everything, but
We talk more cars. We talk about builds. We interview car enthusiasts, and just it's a real cool insight on cars. It's just another outlet for you to consume the Seamless Garage and what we've got going on. So yeah, go check that out. A new episode every Friday morning. So I want you guys to check that out. And by the way, if you're enjoying this video, then please like it, subscribe, spread the word, because we're trying to get this information out to you guys and try to break the monotony, and do something different, and do some unique builds. So if you know any car enthusiasts that might be interested in this channel, let them know about it and share it with them. But yeah, so back to the video. Thanks again.
Right. So, we've never done one of these little cross braces before. What's that? Yeah. Yeah. No. Only that 19. So we had to get this bracket on by itself for that cross brace, and the orientation was a little different, so we figured that out. But it's pretty straightforward doing these lower control arms. So. Look at how loose that suspension is, man.
It's bad. Doesn't come out way easy in that little.
Yeah. Smack it down with that hammer, bro. Smack it with that hammer, it'll come out.
You like the hammer like I like a grinder, boy.
Right? Man, it helps you. It just makes your life so much easier most of the time.
Okay, we need this, don't we?
Yeah. You're gonna need that, your main bolt.
Back there. Now you got that other one over there. Like that?
Like that, yep.
Pretty good.
That's perfect, man. It's actually perfect. Look at that. It's probably on there if you want to see if it'll just start. You ain't got the button on. Yeah. There you go. There you go. Perfect.
You got her started in there.
There you go. Give it a little love tap.
That's all she needed.
Now just use a hammer, smack that one in. Like I said, if you don't smack too hard, you won't hurt it. You just kind of get it lined up.
Yeah.
There's some people who preach against it, but I've never had that issue. I feel like if you use the hammer in the right way, you'll be okay. You just have to be smart with it. It's just like anything else. You gotta be smart with your tools.
Yeah.
You're good. Keep going. You're almost there.
You want me to tighten it all the way down?
Yeah, you might as well, since we're done with it. And tighten down the strut too. Yeah, tighten down the strut. And I'll play with that crossbar.
Should be good there, bro.
Yep. Alright, let's get this bar on.
So what I found interesting about this setup for the crossbar was that I know usually on the Hondas it hangs down a little bit lower You know, it's kind of an aesthetic piece. I know that it adds rigidity and stability to the rear end somewhat. A little bit of structural integrity there, but it's really, an aesthetic piece. And what we found is that the bar like covers up the actual bolt that goes to the lower control arm. So we had to kind of set it up, mock it up, and then tighten down the bolt for the control arm. So, but DJ was talking about, this was one of the cheap pieces along with the stabilizer bar. And the only time we've had any trouble with anything on this car so far, as far as fitment goes, or as far as just quality of parts and things going as planned. The only problems that we've had is when we've cheaped out, and the only reason we cheaped out on the stabilizer, not the this bar and the stabilizer bar. Well, it's called a traction bar. The only reason we cheaped out is because that was really the only thing we could find, and they weren't that big of a deal. But we learned later that everything is tested properly, which we already knew that. We already knew that. When you pay a little bit more for a product, it's been tested before, it's been test fitted, it's solid. It's not a copycat. It's like a legitimate part that has been researched and developed. So, but we knew what we were getting into, and like I said, this is just an aesthetic piece. So, excuse the dirtiness. I mean, we are so dirty. This car, the previous owner, I think, lived on a lease road or something like that, and it was his daily driver. So it's just covered with red dirt. So, and we've pressure washed it, I think, twice, and still we can't get it all off. So, once we get the lift put in, that's one of the things we're gonna do, because we're gonna paint the bottom too. We're gonna put a fresh coat of that protectant, that undercoat. So that's what we're gonna do next. So, but you can see that beautiful K-tune header right there hanging down in the middle there. Can't wait to get a nice exhaust set up on this thing. We haven't decided what we're gonna do with that yet, but look how clean that looks though. That bar's nice. So what we've done so far is this here. Let me get the light. This here is the inner tie rod, and we've got the boot, the new boot we put on it, and greased it up. And we're gonna do a new outer tie rod as well. Went ahead and replaced it. It's kind of self-explanatory. If you've done one, you've done them all. They're kind of the same. So this is gonna be the new one. And so what we're going to do now is I've already got the upper control arm loose, and we're going to take the actual knuckle off, because we're going to replace the upper control arm and the lower control arm. And
so that, and then we're also going to do the ball joint and the spindle here, and that's what we're going to do for today. But I've already told these that we need wheel bearings, because I don't know if you can tell right there. Look at that play, that's bad. So that's got to be done. So Deej needs to do wheel bearings,
Oh yeah.
and because everything on this thing's pretty much going to be replaced. It's going to be solid when we get finished with it, but we're just doing it one piece at a time, getting it knocked out.
So right now would be a good time to kind of explain what's going on here. Um, we did the front end, and I'll show you a couple clips here in a second. But basically, we rebuilt the front end. The only thing we didn't replace on the front end is the actual spindle, because I mean it's just not necessary. It doesn't wear out, unless it gets damaged. There's no need to replace it. So we replaced the lower control arm. Obviously, in the previous video, we'll tag that, where we replaced the traction bar, and that bar, you can see it right there by DJ. We did the traction bar, but we do upper control arm, lower control arm. It's already got a set of coilovers on it, like I said before. We do inner and outer tie rod and tie rod boot, and basically that's it. That's a rebuild for the front end. I want to go ahead and admit that I'm still getting used to this recording thing with the video, so sometimes I don't bring you guys along when I'm doing things, and I'm trying to get more cognizant of that. So just bear with me, because I really want to show you guys the whole process of the build. I think it's important that we do this build, that we document everything, just so DJ has something to look back on the build, for history's sake. If this car ends up being popular or something, just everybody can see the history of the car, and just for you guys to see if you haven't built the EF hash before, or just to document Seamless's process. But I want to bring you guys along and kind of get in depth, because I think I could show you guys a lot, and it would just be really cool for you guys to see everything that we're doing. So with that being said, we did the hubs, but I didn't get any footage of that, again, like I said, because I'm terrible and I'm not recording like I should be. And you'll see in a minute where we pressed in and pressed out the ball joints, the lower ball joint for the spindle, and we did that with just hammer and socket style. I wanted to show you guys that, where yes, you're supposed to use a press, and a press is great when you have it, but at the Seamless Garage right now we don't have a press. So if you know what you're doing, you can use a socket. You just have to use the proper size socket, and you can hammer them in and out. One little trick with that, and it's kind of with anything that you can press fit, but you can use a hammer. You should put the ball joint in the freezer to cool it off. It's going to shrink a little bit, not a whole lot, but enough that it's going to make your life easier as you're installing that ball joint. So those are just some tips that I want to show you guys. But like I said, I'm going to get better about it. I'm already catching myself in the middle of things. I've ordered some new tripods. I've ordered a lot of recording stuff because, like I said, I want to bring you guys as much content as possible. And I'm still learning this software that I'm using right now to edit this stuff. So this footage is a little too fast. But like I said, this is the process. I'm just learning how to do YouTube videos. What I know how to do best is modify cars and work on cars. I'm a mechanic, so no excuses, but I'm just saying that's what I do best. So if I can find a way to capture that and show it to you guys, the more value I can bring. So I'm enjoying this challenge of improving myself and learning this, because I'm actually having a fun time doing this and editing and all that. It's a new adventure for me and a new challenge, so I'm excited about it. So just bear with me. The videos will get better. I know right now it seems like there's a lot of unnecessary footage or filler footage, but we're just trying to find out what's best. And like I said, I'm still figuring out this whole thing. If you have any input on that, please comment below and let us know what you think. What could we do better and what you would like to see, and that's going to help out a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. So don't do like me, okay? I try to do kind of like a lot of the Nissans and remove the bolts here and do it that way, and obviously you can't get it out that way. And I realized that after trying to get the second one out. So I looked, and you got to take these two nuts off. That's all you got to do. Real easy. But of course you got to get the strut out of the way. So there's two nuts up top for the strut. I'll show you. Two nuts up top for the strut. Take off the bar, the bolt that goes through your lower control arm, and then literally those two nuts, and the upper control arm comes out. So easy squeezy. Don't make it difficult. Do not make it difficult.
So you can see here I zoomed in the best I could, but this is what I'm talking about, how I'm not always bringing the camera with me so you can see, but this is when we were actually pressing in the lower ball joints for the spindle. So sorry you guys didn't get to see that. I'll try to catch it on another build, like maybe on the Talon. It's kind of the same regardless of what you're dealing with. If you've pressed in one ball joint, you've done them all. So, but I would like to get that footage for you guys so you can see what's going on there. Sorry to tease you, but just wanted to show you that I had a little bit of a glimpse of what we were doing. So, but yeah, gonna get better. We'll get there. Stay tuned.
Hey guys, thanks for watching the video. I hope you like it. We're just trying to keep you updated on what's going on with the hatch. If you like the video, obviously like it, share with your friends. We're just trying to get this content out to everybody. And yeah, make sure you subscribe if you want to see more of the Talon, of the hatch. We're about to install a lift. We're going to do a video on that. So those are some things coming up. But yeah, just remember guys, if you're going to do anything, make sure you do it seamlessly. And we're out. Later.